Welcome back. This is episode 6. If you haven't subscribed to CFS Office Show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And it's going to be important. As we bring out the latest content, you don't want to miss out on what we have to say, especially when it impacts your overall decision-making ability. This episode is going to be crazy. We're going to talk about just 2 points of view today. So we're just going to stick it down, make it very sharp and clear. Do you have what it takes to leave your job as an employee and begin to operate an institution? Regardless if it's an LLC or a C, do you have what it takes? Stay tuned. That's right. Remember what we said before? Do you got what it takes? It's all here. It's up in your thought process. One of the things is whenever you're dealing with any client or you're dealing with yourself and you have that time alone, white space, we call it the white space, is when there's no one to bother you, you can just sit back and think. The question really comes out to play is, are you and do you have the ability to switch the mindset? When you work for an employer, this is the mindset you have. I go to work for 8 hours. So one, you got to apply for a job. So you got to have a resume. Now that resume, you normally could have took it offline. You could have made it up. A lot of resumes are not based on truth. There's some evidence of truth, but some deception in it as well. But let's just say that you're legit. You put everything you need to put in your resume. The next step that you do is you begin to apply for jobs that fit the description or based on what you're looking for. Now, some may have college degrees, some may not have college degrees, but you go to apply. Once you go to apply, you're starting your career, and careers have to do with outcome. So either you're going to be climbing up a ladder or walking parallel on that ladder, cross-positional training so you can move to the top. But again, as you're doing this, you're drawing into a gentleman, a team, a woman, if she's a small business owner, or a large corporation where she's the CEO. You're drawing into the business bank account. They set a set amount of money that during the course of the year before you came, or 2 years before you came, or even 5 years before you came, they had retained earnings or debt financing where they went and used a line of credit, build up the revenue that they need, and now you're getting a job based on what's in the bank account. Every 2 weeks or every week, you're being to draw in, draw out, draw in, draw out. You get your paycheck, and then you have to deal with your finance accordingly. Now, that is one aspect of do you have what it takes? Because you're coming out of being an employee. You know that if you misappropriate your funds, you're like, I get paid in 2 weeks, or I get paid next week, I'll make it up. But the only reason you're able to do that because they have a static money in their business account that you have access to, that based on the Current Tax Payment Act of 1943, it has to sit there. So if I was going to hire you and I was the employer and you were the employee and I was going to pay you $60,000, it has to be by law in my business bank account. Even though you get paid every 2 weeks, you're drawing into that amount of money. That's $60,000. In case of 12 months, that's $5,000, $2,500 every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, you see your year to date. Starting off, if you started today, April the 2nd, you're going to see $2,500 on this Friday. Then you go another 2 weeks, you're going to see year to date $5,000. Another 2 weeks, $7,500. So you're seeing this. Then another 2 weeks, so a whole 2 months, 4 weeks go past, $10,000. You're drawing into, what do I have left? $50,000. So if you make a mistake, the 60's already there. So once you come from that mindset, you got to completely switch it. You have to say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm very upset. I don't want to stay at this job. I recognize that while I'm at this job, I'm going to do another business because I don't like the people I work around. I don't like my manager. So ambition and anger makes you naively start a company. Now remember, if this is a grocery store and you're working at a job and you're not in sales, you're moving now to saying that I'm going to start a company based on being upset, which naively got you to start a company. Or an opportunity because you wanted to get a raise and you got looked over. Or for any reason that you come up to say, I want to do something different. But if you worked at a grocery store and let's say you worked in the dairy department, you restocked the shelves. Imagine this. You come from drawing into working, starting, growing, climbing the corporate ladder. Now all of a sudden you start a company where you didn't save $60,000 for your income. And now you're a business owner. And you're starting with what you have left. When you went to a company where they already had 60 and you're drawing into it, they're not concerned about your income 6 months from now because it's been there a year before you started. You're concerned about your income 6 months from now because you didn't have the same gifts those previous employers did that you work for. But you work in the dairy department. You fill up the shelf. You get an idea and you decide that I want to go out and I want to sell Band-Aids and I'm going to call them my Band-Aids. Then all of a sudden, you didn't work in the sell department. You worked in the restock department. So you already are coming out of a situation where you didn't retain any money when you worked. You didn't save the $60,000 like the employee did before. Because see, savings for an employee is not the same for an employer. It's called retained earnings. And all employees have savings. All employers have retained earnings. So as a consumer, you're just saying I have a savings. This is what my savings is. If I struggle with my savings, then you're not going to have enough. But if a business struggle with their retained earnings, somebody's going to be fired because a job must go so they can get access to the remaining balance of that job so they can make new decisions. And that may be your job. So if you start off with a company and you're saying, I have what it takes. Remember, if you're an employee, you have savings. Everything you receive from that job that you get paid for, you're drawing into that business bank account. The owners of that company have already figured out how to handle money. Handling money is not the issue. They don't have a problem at all. Your money right now, in whatever year it is, you name the year that you're currently working is for your next year's income. They're going to retain this year's. In the beginning of next year, you'll be getting paid for that. You want to start a company where the only thing you have retained is, well, I need to do everything cheap. I don't have that much money saved. You already at a disconnect because you don't have what it takes. Remember, when you look at in your company you work at, you look to your left, you look to your right. What you will notice is this: a team. You start a company to yourself. What do you have? Yourself. So if you can't save it, you can't draw into it. And that's one of the reasons why I always tell people when they call, I want to give you my 15-second pitch. I want to give you my elevator pitch. And if it was a phone call, it was like one of those calls where you have a robocall. You just hang up. And the elevator, well, thank you. I'll give you a call. I'm not going to call them. How come? Because I understand. If you're asking me to fund your idea, you basically saying you don't have no savings and you don't have a team. Look, I got this great idea. Well, did you save for that great idea that you can have a job? Or do you need me to fund an idea that you don't have the ability to manage? Because excitement, I've always said this as well, compound interest does not happen at the eye level. You can see the results of it. So if you're trying to actually run a business right now and you're all excited, again, I ask the question, do you have what it takes? How do you know that you should leave your job? Do you have your whole year income saved for next year along with this year? And if you don't have what it takes. Till next time, thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. We got another show coming up called Saying, Should We Hire Him or Should We Hire Her? Some of these mistakes I'm making, I definitely, I gotta, Okay. All right. I think I should use this one. I know we scratched it from the script, but we should do this. There is a big disconnect when it comes to a person, and what they're doing is that they have a desire to start a company, but they haven't went through the necessary steps to develop the right behavior for completion. Like they know how to start something, but they're not very good at executing the completion. We always say that in business, the creation of the idea concept is exciting, something new. It's fun to do. But when it comes to doing the part that's automatic, systematic, and boring, this is where people lose their steam. So if you have a situation where you got, let's say, for one of our clients, they inherit money, right? And in the process of inheriting it, what they were basically saying is, I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to hire 2 people. So automatically from the money they had like, I think it was $62,000. And from the $62,000, they said, I'm going to have somebody, a part-time secretary. And I'm going to go ahead from the $62,000, and I'm going to go ahead and pay a lawyer about $2,500 to do my bylaws. And I asked them this question: how do you make money if I remove your product? They was like, well, I saw certain things that I want to resell. I said, what do you mean you saw certain things? Well, a lot of times they went into Five Below, that store that popped up, and a lot of that stuff from Five Below is from China. So from them, they're saying, well, I can go and sell the same thing. I can get it at a deal. So they went and they seen it from some type of manufacturer that they got their eyes on, that they can go out there and they can resell that. But I asked them this question. How do you deal with shipment issues at the time we're in right now? Where if there's a delay on shipment, how's your sales? What was your past experience? And here was the interesting thing. They've been a janitor. Now, I'm not trying to say, one of the things as human beings is you have to sell yourself. But if you're a janitor, please don't take it the wrong way. When someone says to you, you have not practiced sales. What you have practiced is seeing errors people make, and you do a great job cleaning it up. So in essence, that person's already been trained from where in the area they go to see something that's out of place. See something that's not based on the standard for that area that they want to have, right? So this person would be very good because they're a technician. Looks at the sink's got to be washed. We notice there's no soap. They're a technician. But they're going into an area where it's not technical, because you have to, when it comes to selling, you got to remember, you have to adjust to the people that's in front of you. If I'm talking to someone and they were like, well, pretty much they look at salespeople as this. Okay, what are you trying to sell me? Well, unless we have a dialogue, I really can't sell you anything, because when you think about an institution, it's not created for your interest. It's created for mine. So you have so many people that's product thesis. What I mean by product thesis, I'm not to the bottle of water, but the one thing that I keep thinking in my mind is that a lot of these individuals keep thinking that the water bottle or the label is more important to get if let's say the janitor wants to go out and he wants to start a water bottle company. This water bottle company that he's going to start is not going to generate any money, because it's going to generate based on his ability to, his footprint in the marketplace to sell. How good is he selling? What if he's an introvert? That's not a natural born sell technique, which means that for the last 10 years of his life, he's been purposely practicing staying away from people. And this is a people business. This doesn't make any sense. So you want to start a company that has to do with social capital. And I don't mean funding, but social capital means that the marketplace is where you make money dealing with people by sharing in social conversations. And this person is an introvert on purpose. Extrovert is on purpose. This one person practiced their entire life on getting out of their comfort zone and got good at it. The other person practiced their entire life, said people don't understand me, and they stay reclusive. That's on purpose. That's not an accident. Because a person who's an introvert, the only person somebody know it is if they just go into a corner. But what if they come out and they're like, hey, how you doing today? Hey, how you doing today? That no one knows what you are. You're defining that secretly here. Here's a water bottle. You're a janitor. You pissed off at your job. You're tired of them getting, they're not treating you, respecting you. You decide you're gonna go out and you're gonna make money on water. But you're an introvert. This is a fundamental problem. And then you don't want to share your company, social capital. None of these companies that you see today, when they first, Amazon was not part of a 401k plan. They became part of a 401k plan. So when you have a situation like this, and these young entrepreneurs want to stand in my face and they want to ask me, give me 2 million, give me 50 million. I can make you rich. I don't need you to make me rich. I had money before we met, and I'm gonna have money when you leave, because I know how to handle money. But in their mind, they've never handled that. They don't even practice it. And then you ask them, outside of a 401k plan, and if you don't go to work for the next 6 months, how much money do you have coming in from something that is non-labor that you decided to get involved in that actually sends you a residual income? And I'm not referring to passive, because a lot of people talk about passive income. They say, well, real estate is passive income. Let me just be very clear when I make this statement. One of the most important responsibilities of this new CEO, who happened to be a janitor, is to make income. It's not to say I'm gonna make passive income. I mean, if he can make $400, his next question you have to make is, if I'm making $400, how do I make $8? And if I make $8, how do I make $1,200? And if I make $1,200, how do I make 10 grand today? His idea is not this. Whenever you say passive, just know this, it's tied to a perpetuity that's fixed income. What do I mean by that? If it's a lease, most people talk about a lease. It's a 12-month lease. It's a fixed income asset. It's fixed income. It can't go up. It can go down, but it's a violation because they didn't make their monthly renting payment. But the fact of the matter is, it's fixed income. He's a CEO. He doesn't want fixed income. He has to take low yields and make them higher. That's his responsibility. He's a janitor. He's an introvert. He's going to fail. How come? Because he has not practiced success, so he cannot be successful. Now, he can go and start practicing success, but he has to understand that every failure is not failure. It's a pathway to learning what it is to maintain a behavior in order for him to be successful tomorrow. Because he's not going to be successful today. He's an introvert on purpose. He started a water bottle company. He took his $5,000 and All he did was buy the bottle, added a label, got caps, because caps don't come with it. You got to buy the caps, got to buy the bottle. Then he has to get this label printed. Got to pay for graphics. But he's not a salesperson. So now he has inventory in place, assets in place, sitting somewhere, even in the warehouse or his own garage. And he wondering why he can't make $1 million a year, because you never practiced that. That's going to take some time. I mean, if you want to make 6 figures, you got to know that you have to have some time where, risk, where people look at risk, well, I don't want to look stupid. Well, that means you don't want to practice success, because it's not about looking stupid. If practicing success means you have to be ignorant, it means that then you have the wrong view of it. Practicing success and making a mistake means new pathways of learning. It never means you're going to look stupid. How are you going to look stupid? I tell you what's stupid. Going to work every day and you know you don't want to be there. That's what I did before I got into this area. I went to work, stood in the place and said, it's dumb for me to be here. That's feeling stupid, because you know for the fact that you got to do something different, you're not wanting to do it. That means you choose to be ignorant, and that's what stupid means by definition. You just choosing to educate yourself. But to say that go learn is stupid, that goes opposite of anything. I mean, it really does. This is what we should really record stuff like this, and we should put it out there. Because if we record this, I think most people, it'll comprehend for them. So for me, really telling these entrepreneurs the reality of it is, let's look at the last 5 years of your life and what you have purposely practiced and you focused on, period. Was it on selling? If a person comes from sales, right, then they have, let's say this person is sales. Forget about the gender. This person is sales, and they've been doing sales. Now, when it comes to sales, here's another issue. Are they a salesperson that's a liar? Which means the product value, the value of the product doesn't meet the match of the conversation that they gave out. How many times has somebody bought something and when they went to go take it home, it really wasn't what they wanted, but they liked the person who was selling it to them and forgot about really the product features. It really didn't meet their need. So they bought it anyway. And how come they bought it anyway? Because they got caught in the sale and they know how to tell somebody no. Well, with that being said, this is a salesperson. Salespeople are image driven. And being that they're image driven, it's all about the image. Here's a problem. They're going to be a horrible CEO. They will overpay, they will overspend, and they don't want to share their company with anybody. So again, we got another fundamental issue. They're going to fail. How come? Because image has no price for an ignorant person that don't have no skills. Now, selling is a skill, but the ignorant part I'm talking about is that the fact of the matter of over-exaggerating what this bottle is going to do for me and my system. It's an over-exaggeration. Listen, the bottle of water will provide some quench, but what if the molecule's too big? I don't care what's on this. It can't be digested. You're just going to urinate it out. But the average person doesn't realize that some of these water bottles, the reason they still get dry mouth, the reason they still urinate and they feel dehydrated is because the water molecule too big. So if you bottle this and you don't shrink the water molecule, what good is the bottled water? You're not going to hydrate anybody, but you're saying it hydrates you. So these are the things salespeople, they practice adding value to a product that don't have that actual value. They're going to fail because most people will feel cheated in the long run. They're going to feel like I was taken advantage of. They sweet talk me. They're a greasy salesperson. But they don't, again, they're willing to spend money on a perception that's not in the bottle. They're going to fail. They will spend whatever it takes to look like success, but they'll never be successful. That's a lot of these individuals, that's what you see today. It is not until they meet a second person and the third person that they let in that actually stops this. You can spend your whole paycheck on your image, but you cannot spend the company's money on image, because without retained earnings, you can't make new decisions. This is what they really need to hear. And I think that this is a way that we can get it out there. They can understand it, and if they use it, they do. If they don't, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna make money, because that's, and that's how you have to. That's how they need to think. It doesn't matter. If I could only make money from selling bottled water, I am not a good CEO, because if this is the only way I can make money, I am a reseller of somebody else's. A manufacturer makes the plastic. There's a printing shop that makes the label in here. They get paid before I get paid. But I'm saying I'm a business owner. No, what you have done is you have made yourself a sales associate for your own company with skills you don't have to retain revenue. So these are two different perspectives. You have one who's an introvert, you have one who oversells something that doesn't have the value in the bottom.